Welcome to the Happy Workaholic Podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman. Over the past 20 years, I've worked in beauty, luxury, corporate, and service-driven industries. I created the opportunity in these careers and in my own businesses that allowed me to travel the world, experience once-in-a-lifetime events, and build brands while providing my expertise to clients all around the globe. Life is short, and when you're given a second chance, you better believe I'm going to take it, celebrate it, and share it with you. This show is intended to elevate your mind, upgrade your business, enhance your life, and become part of a positive and uplifting community. If you're ready to take your business and life to that next level you deserve to be at, this is the show for you. Inspiration, motivation, and determination are what got me to where I am today. Tune in every week to hear from myself, other entrepreneurs, professional patients, small business owners, and fellow podcasters who will be featured on the show. I'm here to remind you to work hard, share your story, follow your dreams, and never, ever give up. Thanks for taking the time to subscribe to the Happy Workaholic Podcast. Today's episode starts now. Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new show. You are listening to episode number 188 of the Happy Workaholic Podcast. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in today. I really appreciate it. And I would love to know what you guys think of the brand new intro of the show, the new format. I'm so excited to be pushing out some new episodes coming on Wednesdays with some incredibly talented and amazing guests. You guys, they're just like insane. I cannot wait to release these shows. But for now, I would really like it if you could take a moment, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, to leave me a review and let me know what you think of the brand new format. I'm so excited to be sharing more of my personal life, more of my stories, as well as my guests that are coming on. So today, as you can see by the title, I want to talk to you all about my anxiety, my panic attacks, my PTSD, and my trauma. So this is definitely a mental health episode, clearly. And obviously, as always, I need to say that this is not coming from a medical professional because I am not one. I'm just a professional patient, and I'm not giving you any kind of medical advice. What I am giving you is my experiences with all of the said factors above. I'm looking at my little sheet right here. Anxiety, panic attacks, trauma, PTSD. I mean, this is a lot. And it's so funny because I actually already recorded this episode and now I'm re-recording it because something else happened to me over the weekend that I needed to add. I had a panic attack and I haven't had a panic attack in over a year. And I thought to myself, like, this is weird because I'm literally doing a podcast about PTSD and trauma, and here I am experiencing it. So I'm re-recording so that I can share that experience with you. And the whole purpose behind this show is sharing experiences and stories so that I can help all of you out there, whether it's with business or life. So I want to help you by sharing my story. I know I'm going to be helping you, not as a medical professional, but by helping you open your eyes to things and maybe try new things that will help you. And I'm just sharing what works for me and what doesn't work. So you can take it or leave it. Totally up to you. But I know that by sharing things that I do to keep me calm and more relaxed, I promise you they'll do the same for you. At least half of them. I mean, at least you could do is try, right? So I first off want to say that I never had anxiety or depression until I got quote unquote sick 3 years ago. So if you're new to the show, long story short, I was misdiagnosed with MS and another disease, NMO, neuromyelitis optica it's called, NMO for short, that could potentially leave you blind and paralyzed. So that's how this whole show started. So I wanted to share my message and help other people with autoimmune diseases and what it was like to live my life. So I was misdiagnosed and I was on drugs for these diagnosis is plural. And these drugs that I was put on also gave me anxiety and depression, their side effects. So I'm like, I'm on a drug because of a drug. It was a never ending battle, a never-ending situation. It's like you can never get off these drugs. So when I found out I was misdiagnosed last year, January 23rd, 2019, to be exact, a couple weeks later, I started taking myself off these meds. I did have a psychiatrist that helped me taper off, but I did it a lot sooner than you normally should have because I was just over it. I do not recommend that. I mean, everybody is different, but in my mind, I just didn't want to keep putting any percentage of a pill in my body because I wanted to get it out. And my body is still trying to heal to this day, and it's going to take years to get back to normal. So I'm doing everything in baby steps at this point, but everything I'm doing, I'm going to share with you today. So that's where my anxiety and depression came from these drugs. I never had a problem with anxiety and depression before. Now I can say my depression is pretty much gone. I'd say 90% gone. I am not on any medication. I only take my thyroid medication first thing in the morning. Everything else I'm on is vitamins. I have a lot of fruits and veggies, and I'm just trying to heal my body with food, okay? That's what I'm doing. That's why I meal prep all the time. I'm obsessed with cooking. I'm obsessed with cleaning. Like, these are just stress relieving things for me, and I enjoy them. So, again, this is just what's working for me. So, in order to get rid of anxiety and depression, they came with these pills that I was on for 3 years. But then it got worse when I got off of them because now my body's like, what the hell? There's nothing coming in and now we don't know what to do. And my body just went crazy. So let me give you an example. About last year, I was actually telling a friend of mine this story last night because I was telling her about my panic attack I had over the weekend, which was crazy, which I'm also going to share with you in a second. So about a year ago, it was February, I was in the kitchen, I was making like a delicious stir fry or something as usual, and I had a panic attack over the stove. Now, you would think because I'm in my calm, happy place, mentally, physically, emotionally, like I'm in my zone, I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, everything's fine and dandy. And I felt like somebody was stabbing me in the chest out of nowhere. I had this insane panic attack, and then I kept getting them throughout the next couple of months. Well, turns out that one of the medications I was on actually gives you panic attacks. So there's where that came from. So long story short, I started CBD oil. So I've tried so many kinds, and I finally, I think, found one that's like working for me at the moment. I go back and forth to Vegas a lot, so I've been getting some there, but now I got some at a new dispensary here in San Diego. And I'm taking a quarter of the amount, and I feel a lot better. So it's all trial and error, and that's with anything in life, right? So my anxiety, like I mentioned, I'm at like a 90% that it doesn't, like I have a 10% chance of something triggering my depression and then me going into a dark hole, and that's no fun. So I'd say I'm 90% cured from that. When it comes to anxiety, that I for sure have. I'm in the middle of 6 medical malpractice legal cases. I'm running a business. I'm trying to heal my body. I'm doing all the things, trying to enjoy my damn life. That's life. Like, everybody has a million things going on, and everybody may have some kind of form of anxiety or maybe not. So mine, the CBD oil and eating clean and drinking less, like those things help me. So that's what I'm doing. When it comes to panic attacks, again, I haven't had a panic attack since last year. Honestly, it was like about a year ago, a little bit over a year, I started having them. And then they were getting worse when I was withdrawing from these meds, when I was tapering myself off. So I want to share with you the story about my panic attack this weekend. So I moved over the weekend, and then I helped my old roommate move. And also, I should probably tell you about the gallbladder situation first. Sorry, rewind. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I was told, I went to the emergency room for my knee. My knee was killing me. And then they told me I have arthritis because I'm not 20 years old anymore. Okay. And then I got new sneakers, and now I'm fine. So I also said, well, I have a problem with my stomach because it looks like I'm 8 months pregnant every time I eat, and it's like really hard. It's very strange. They ended up doing an ultrasound. They found gallstones. They told me I need my gallbladder out like ASAP. I met with a surgeon the next day. I was told that they think it's GI related. Will I need my gallbladder out this week, next month, next year? It's a possibility, but a surgeon isn't going to take out one of your body parts, an organ, when she's not 100% sure that it's because of the gallstone. She thinks it's something else because I wasn't in any pain. And if any of you have had gallstones, you're in excruciating pain, apparently, because that's everything I've been reading on the internet and talking to all these people in these Facebook groups, and everybody says pain, pain, pain. Well, I have a really, really high tolerance of pain, and I know for sure that I'm not in pain. And so that's the thing that's throwing them off. So I ended up going to a GI doctor. I need to get an endoscopy so we can figure out what's going on there. Okay, so that's like the first part of the story. So then after that, I ended up getting sick, which is so weird. And it literally came out of nowhere. I was sick from Monday to this past Monday. So Tuesday. It was 8 straight days. I had like bronchitis, the flu, like the whole sickness, like everything, every day something happened. I was so sick. It hit me it just literally came out of nowhere. And it's so funny because I was talking to friends online in all different parts of the country, and they had it too, or they knew somebody that had it too. And they're like, yeah, it just hit you out of nowhere. I mean, I was producing podcasts like under my pillow, like rolled up in a ball in my bed. Like it was insane. I mean, the show must go on. So that's what I did. So my PTSD and trauma, which I'll discuss in a second, well, my PTSD started creeping up, and depression when I was sick. And I'll tell you why. So let's go back to this past weekend. I was told from the gallbladder situation, and then doing my research and going down like a Google hole, certain things that you should stay away from and eat. And one of them is pizza. And I love making my homemade pizzas, but every now and then I'll go out and have pizza. So I was craving pizza last Saturday. I was also delirious because I did 2 back-to-back moves, and I was still sick. So definitely pushed myself to like the absolute extreme, which I will admit was probably not the smartest thing to do. And I was craving pizza. I'm like, I haven't had pizza in forever. That's so weird. So where I live, there's a place where you can get slices, and I was so excited. And so I got myself 2 slices of a margherita pizza. I came home, I ate it. Literally within 5 minutes, my stomach was on fire. And then it felt like the stabbing pain. And I was like, oh my God. I immediately thought to myself, holy shit, I was not supposed to eat pizza. My gallstones, like all the shit. I started profusely sweating. I couldn't even hold on to the counter. And I went into survival mode. This is what happens when you have PTSD. So I'm standing there, and I kept holding pressing my phone, asking Siri, like, play new meditation, play healing meditation. And like my hands were like dripping sweat. I couldn't even hold the button down on my phone. It kept like slipping down. I was shaking. I felt like I was having a heart attack, but then it was the middle of my stomach, not on the right where the gallstones are, where your gallbladder is. So that was like really weird. But I thought in my mind, I just ate pizza. It clearly says do not eat pizza. For some reason, it's like the worst thing when you have gallstones. It's like harder to digest, I guess. And I had been eating all these things on, the brat diet. Bananas, brown rice, applesauce, toast. It's like a chemo diet. It's very like healing and like plain for your, insides. And I started eating things like that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see like I was at the market. I couldn't find a freaking bread. Like I couldn't remember the last time I bought whole grains and whole wheat products, because that's all you should be eating when you have gallstones or a gallbladder problem. I was making homemade applesauce. I was eating bananas, like my vegan ice cream. And I just had to stop juicing every day because it was like too acidic, and I needed like all these like calming foods to like heal my body and prevent this like gallbladder situation that I would need emergency surgery. I was like freaking the fuck out, to be honest with you. And so on Saturday night when I came home after I had my pizza, I thought this was it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, my 2 closest friends live further than the hospital, but luckily the ER is like 2 exits from me. I went into survival mode. I was in so much pain. I got the meditation on and I started breathing and breathing and breathing, which I'll share about in a minute why I breathe and why breath work is so important. And I just like was besides myself. And so immediately what I did was I ran to the front door. I unlocked it. I came into my room. I blew out my candles. I unplugged my oil diffuser. I was looking for my chemo bag that I thought I still had for some reason, like a bag packed to go to chemo to the hospital to get my IVs done, my chemo done. And I forgot, like, I'm not sick anymore. I don't have chemo anymore. I don't have a hospital bag packed on the ready. My will is not around. I freaked out. And I'm in pain and I'm sweating. And then I felt my vertigo coming on because that's triggered by stress. I was freaking out, you guys. My stomach hurt so bad. Finally, about like 20 minutes, it seemed like an hour, but I think it was maybe like 20 minutes. I was able to take a shower and just calm myself, and I put my oil back on, and I had already like typed up a message, put it in notes so I could copy and paste to everybody so they knew where to find me. And that's what happens when you have PTSD. So I had a panic attack because in my mind, I like freaked myself out, or I was just exhausted, or I was stressed out, or just everything in general, because it's been a really stressful last couple of weeks because I was told I needed emergency gallbladder surgery. So like, you can't make my life up. So that's what happened with my panic attack over the weekend. Now, going back to being sick, when I was stuck in bed, I immediately think, in my mind, I'm back in Vegas. I'm back in my room. I'm hoping I'm not going to die when I close my eyes. I'm hoping I'm not going to, not say goodbye to my friends, and, all these like really dark thoughts. I started getting really depressed. When I went grocery shopping, I started getting all my chemo foods. Like when I was going through chemo, I would always have certain foods, and they would always have to be ready, and they would either have to be like ice cold or something that I could heat up. And I have a list. Like, I'd always have an ongoing shopping list for certain things that I needed to have in my chemo bag. I needed to have with me all the time. And I started buying these things, and I'm like, shit, I can't even eat that because I need whole grains or I need whole wheat. And so I got like variants. But in my mind, because I was so sick, I thought that I was like going through chemo again. And I was like super sick where I could just die at any given moment. And that's what happens when you have PTSD. It's not fun. But I'm just realizing now, because I'm going through therapy, which I'll also share about in a minute. I know I have PTSD and trauma, and I'm experiencing things like this, and I have been, but it hasn't been until recently where I actually realize it's like an outer body experience. Like, I realize what I'm doing is because I have PTSD. Like, for example, going into survival mode. Like, I'm really, really good at that because that's all I knew. And I'm a very organized and strategic person. So when it comes to saving my own life, you got to be the same. And it was crazy. Like, I was telling my roommate, I'm like, oh my God, I was going to call 911. My 2 friends were far. I like opened the door so somebody can find me. I like unplugged everything, blew out my candle. Like, I didn't want the house to like blow up with my candle on. And I started taking out like my emergency list contacts. I wanted to access them in my phone. I unlocked my phone, like all these crazy things I used to have done all the time. I did literally within a matter of a minute, less than 60 seconds when I had my panic attack last weekend. What triggered it? Probably being so sick and pushing myself and stress and everything else and freaking myself out and getting in my own head about the goddamn pizza, my gallbladder. Like, it was just insane. I didn't know I was having a panic attack until later. I thought it was my gallbladder. And I don't even know. It was just the craziest situation. And that was just a wake-up call. Like, you need to slow the hell down. Like, knock it off and get your shit together because you only have one life. And I don't know how many times I've had to tell myself this. But that was just a wake-up call. So Super Bowl Sunday, I just relaxed. Like, I didn't drink. I didn't have like any, Super Bowl food. I didn't even watch the game. And I just needed to like be calm and be by myself and go to the dispensary and get my CBD oil because I was out for like 3 days. I just could not like find a second to get there. That's priority because that is my medicine. So I went there, and then side note, the Girl Scouts were selling cookies outside the dispensary. So how genius are they? So genius. So going back to being sick 2 weeks ago, getting this like bronchial flu and all of that, and then getting, trying to get out of the sickness, having a panic attack, how I heal myself and how I come out of these situations, whether it's anxiety, panic, depression, PTSD, the trauma, how I am now healing and how I get out of this is by breathing and by doing things that are calming and soothing and relaxing. Now, for me, what that means is not journaling in the moment, but journaling after the fact. But I need to have certain lighting that keeps me calm. I literally just bought on Sunday lavender lighting for my room and red light therapy for my office. So it helps like with inflammation and productivity. And the lavender is very calming and soothing. That's just shit I need in my life right now. And I've been wanting to do that. So I finally just did that Sunday. I need certain candles. I need certain smells. So during the day when I'm working, I have my oil diffuser on and I have lemon and eucalyptus. At night, I have lavender and eucalyptus. These are just things that work for me. I'm very structured and organized. And for somebody that's gone through like such a sickness and honestly, I would just say like with anybody in general, like when you go through something hard in life, like what's going to make you feel better? So this is why I'm sharing this. These are the things that make me feel better in like my favorite sense, that keep me calm and kind of like help recenter me. I like to put oils in the shower, and I do like eucalyptus and pink salt baths, things like that. Meditation is a huge one for me. And now a couple of months ago, I started really getting into breath work. So this is why I mentioned this earlier. So a couple of my clients are actually certified with Pause Breathwork. And Pause Breathwork was created by Samantha Skelly, who also created Hungry for Happiness, which a lot of my other clients are certified in. And so, they put in so many hours of training. It's unbelievable. Over 100 hours to get certified to become a breathwork facilitator. So one of my older clients, Crystal, had done a Zoom video breathwork session with me. And it was amazing, I have to tell you. If you need her info, let me know. Her name is Crystal Halverson. And what breathwork does, and also I do use the Wim Hof Method app. And if you're not familiar with Wim Hof, it's W-I-M Hoff, H-O-F-F. Please Google him and look him up because he will change your mindset about so much shit in life. It's unbelievable. Between cold baths, ice water, cold showers, breath work, breathing, he's fought disease by getting it injected into him by breathing and being in cold environments and a number of other things. He was actually just on the Goop Lab on Netflix as well. And I think I spoke about that for a second on last week's show. But if you haven't watched the Goop Lab on Netflix, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's company, you need to watch that. It's so good. I think there's only 6 episodes, but it's very, very good. And so I've been following him for a while. And then one of my business coaches, Jesse Itzler, which I've mentioned a bunch of times on the show, and he's going to be on the show very soon. He actually went and stayed with Wim Hof for an entire week with a whole bunch of other guys. And all they did was just realign and recenter themselves and do everything for their mind, body, and spirit, basically. And then when you do that, it just enhances your business and life, right? So I'm drawn to these people because they're in my bubble. They're in my circle. So I'm learning how to breathe. I'm learning what it does. So for me, because I do have vertigo, and that's triggered from a couple things. And I get that sometimes just when I'm stressed. Well, I started triggering it when I was breathing, because with breath work, there's all kinds of ways that you can do it. There's all different ways that you can breathe. There's different names, there's different structures. You can hold your breath for a certain amount of time. That's what I'm doing on the Wim Hof method app. And then when I was working with Crystal and she was showing me how to breathe and what techniques, certain ones, I mean, you have so much oxygen flowing. My brain started like tingling. It was the weirdest feeling. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that specific breath, because I feel like my vertigo is going to come on. This is how intense breath is. And I just am still doing like a lot more research, and I still can only do like certain ones. There's so many different techniques. Excuse me. And when I first started doing it, I would say like last spring. I started a couple months ago. I mean, spring is like honestly almost a year away now, so it was a while ago, and it didn't do anything for me. Like, I wasn't getting it. So you really need somebody to like help and like coach you through it. Pause breath work and the Wim Hof method, I feel, are like two different formulas and techniques, which I like because I like to try different things. So that's what I'm doing. And I would highly recommend you research those. I can put the names in the show notes for you. And something else that I'm doing for my PTSD and trauma is I've been going to EMDR therapy. And if you're not familiar with that, it stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I can never say that word. Desensitization and reprocessing. So basically it's side to side eye movements, or they do it with hand tapping. Now, because I had vertigo, I couldn't be rolling my eyes everywhere. So I've always done it with the hand tapping. My therapist does it by tapping my hands. So that has helped a lot with PTSD and trauma to get me this far. But I honestly just needed to take a little break, because when you have to picture yourself, this is what I chose. So you choose to, you have to relive the moment over and over and over and over again. So I was reliving the moment of being in a chemo chair, getting a drug that could close my throat and I could die. So I could stop breathing at any given moment. That's very scary. I just say this very subtly, but like, I've gone through a lot of therapy and I still cry about it all the time because I just like forget, and then something will remind me and trigger me, and then I get angry. And so that's supposed to help with all of that. So because I'm still reliving it, because I'm in the middle of the legal business, it's really hard to move on from, be cured and like get past the PTSD and trauma, because I'm still in it, because I'm still reliving it, looking at medical records and dealing with my legal cases. It's a lot. And that's why I get angry. And so, I need to do things that are calming and soothing, like meditation and yoga and breath work and candles and oils. And this is why I'm sharing all of this, because this is what's helping with me. And I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just telling you what's working for me. And nothing I'm doing is, besides therapy, is medically related. It's all a holistic approach. And that's how I choose to go about things. I mean, just when I was in the ER the other day, they were prepping me for an IV. And I'm like, what are you doing? I thought you were getting labs. I thought you were getting blood work done. And she said, oh, no, we're prepping you for an IV. I'm like, for what reason? I'm not in pain. Like, I'm leaving in 5 minutes. Like, no, thank you. I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, I don't have a metal port anymore. So IVs in my arms are a nightmare. And that's really one reason why I miss my port, because if something does happen, you're accessible to get an IV in like literally seconds, where that's not the case with my veins because they're invisible. So I ended up getting my blood work done, and that was it. And that was fine. But it's just insane. Going to the emergency room, going through medical things now. I mean, just this week alone, I had a doctor's appointment almost every day between, going to the primary to get the referral, to the surgeon, to the specialist, and then back around, and then get more referrals, making the appointments. I mean, it's so frustrating, you guys. And this is why I'm creating this medical product. Hopefully I'm launching in June on my birthday on the 10th, because And I feel like I've always said, everything happens for a reason. And I feel like the only reason why I'm alive and I got through this and I was misdiagnosed is to show myself I needed to prove to myself I'm so much stronger than I ever thought I was. And then I have a voice and a platform to help others going through that, to help other families, to help other medical professionals and legal teams and everybody involved in somebody's health situation or medical journey to streamline it and make it organized. I've always said so many times, like, if I didn't look at my sickness as a business, I wouldn't be alive to share my story today. There's just no way in hell. I never gave up. I had everything organized. And now, between my best friend getting admitted for a week in the hospital like a month ago and then me going through this again, I feel like it's happening because it's lining me up for things that I need another fresh perspective because I haven't been sick in a long time. It's been a year since I had to go through this cycle of 1 million doctor's appointments and labs and MRIs and all of that. But now I'm doing it again. I have an endoscopy coming up. I have a CT scan coming up. I'm getting labs. It's like I'm going through this cycle again to see what the hell is wrong with my body. And it's probably because I'm healing and detoxing from everything that I was on. I mean, honestly, because after all the research I've done, it literally just spells it out for you right there. My poor body is a hot mess, which is why I'm, again, always like making these healing soups and drinking shakes and trying to like just make as many holistic and healing approaches and choices for me personally so I can feel better, mentally, physically, and emotionally, because this shit's intense. And if I'm not sharing what's going on with me, how am I going to be able to help anybody else? So I feel like this shit's happening because I needed different set of eyes. So when I was with my best friend and she was in the hospital, I was her friend. I wasn't the one in the bed. I wasn't the one on the medical side. I'm not doing the legal stuff. I was a friend. So I needed fresh eyes to a whole nother hospital approach, getting admitted, and then going through this whole drama with my health over the last 2 weeks. I feel like it's giving me more information and honestly more content and things I need to incorporate into this product. I'm missing this. And somebody upstairs must know that I can handle anything because I'm going through this shit again. I'm like, you can't make my life up. I literally FaceTimed my best friend from the ER when I was there 2 weeks ago, and I was in my beautiful gown. That's something else I would like to do, is create new hospital gowns and sell them at all of the best hospitals. Not the best, but literally all of them, because you already feel like shit. You don't want to look like shit. You know what I mean? So she was just released from the ER. And I'm like, here I am living my best life. And I was in such denial that I was just told I needed my gallbladder out. And I was meeting the surgeon the next day. I just lost my shit on the ride home because I was in denial. I was laughing hysterically, which I think I told this story on a couple episodes a couple weeks ago. It was probably 2 weeks ago. You just can't make my life up. So I feel like I've been given this next path of healing once again and figuring out more medical situations so that I can just improve my product so that it's the best on the market. Well, it already will be because there's nothing like it. So that I can continue to help other people, whether you're the one that's going through something health related or you're helping somebody. And you could be a medical professional. Oh my God, I can't talk. Medical professional or a legal professional or a caregiver or the actual patient. And it's for all of us. This product is going to be incredible because it's solving the problem that no one has done yet. And that's why you create something, to solve problems. So I'm really excited about that. But, just going back to staying calm and trying to heal myself and take a holistic approach, that's the way I want to go because I've already done the drugs. I've already done all the meds and those things. I can't even imagine how many toxins are in my system. I can't wait to take that, those labs, and hopefully another month or so I'm going to do that. And it actually tells you what toxins are in your system. So I can see are my healing soups like helping detox my system with like all this crap? I was on 12 heavy medications plus chemo. That's a lot of pills, you guys. So my poor body is like trying to detox. And I have a goal of losing 100 pounds this year. So I'm right on track. And between eating healthy and doing my walks and all of that, like I should be losing weight. And that's another reason why I'm meeting with the GI doctors, because I should be losing more weight. But that's a whole nother episode. Anyway, so I just wanted to share with you guys, my personal experiences, having anxiety, going through depression, things that trigger it for me. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. And everybody has their own story. And when it comes to PTSD and trauma, I can't even explain to you like how important therapy is for that. Because if I didn't start therapy, I would probably be in a mental institution. I'm not kidding. Because what I went through, and I can only be so strong at some points, and I can only like rely on my best friends like to listen. You need a medical professional to help you. You need somebody that's trained in either EMDR or any other kind of therapy to help you, even if it's just to talk. You have to invest in yourself to get better. And these are just the little things that I'm doing to heal myself, to heal my mind, my body, get my energy up, and honestly just like start to live my life again. And I just started doing that, I feel like only a couple months ago, which is insane because I was buried in legal, and I'm buried in my business, and I'm buried in trying to save my freaking life. And now I'm like, I want to have a life. I want to have a social life. I want to do more with my podcast. I want to like do more within the medical and legal industry. That's why I'm taking the bar and becoming an attorney and then releasing this medical product. Like, these things are really important to me. And as I mentioned earlier, there's no way in hell that like I was sick for no reason. It's so that I can continue to share my story and my message so that I can help so many other people out there. I have this podcast because I was sick and I needed a way to make money. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm going to be blind and paralyzed. How the hell am I going to make money? And at that point, I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's a very cutthroat New Yorker, which I appreciate. And he was literally speaking to me through his podcast. And I was like, fuck, I need a podcast. So here we are, 3 years later almost. And so I have a lot more guests coming on. The Professional Patient series is going to be filled with other patients and healers, which I can't wait to share those stories. But again, you guys, if you have any questions, please go seek medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm just sharing my experiences with you that I go through and what helps me. And the holistic approach is where I'm at this point. So thank you guys so much for listening to my experiences throughout literally the last 2 weeks. And if you don't have anything that's keeping you calm and sane, go out and get things, little things. Buy a journal, buy the oils. You don't have to buy the high-end oils. Buy cheap oils. Just get them so that you feel calm and relaxed. Lavender is always the best for that. Go get yourself some bubble baths. You have to make an appointment with yourself. Everybody always says self-care is so important. And it's not just on Sundays. And I have the hiccups. You need to invest in yourself. You need to heal yourself. You need to do things that are going to be calming and not triggering. And sometimes we don't even know when that happens. But when it does, then we learn a lesson and we can move on from there. So thanks again for listening, you guys. And I will talk to you again soon. Your time is so valuable, and I really appreciate you carving out a little piece of your day to listen to today's episode. If you liked this one, please share it with someone who you feel needs to hear this message. And don't forget to tag me at The Happy Workaholic on Facebook and Instagram so I can feature you on my stories. Listening on Apple Podcasts? I would love it if you would leave me a review on today's show. Your input means so much and also helps me create more of the content you'll love. Want to continue today's conversation? You can join us in the Happy Workaholic Network Facebook group. Simply answer the questions and you're in. For more information on myself and to get the latest in business, LinkedIn, organizing, and podcasting news, Sign up to receive my weekly newsletter at thehappyworkaholic.com. I hope that your day continues to be happy, healthy, positive, and productive, and I'll talk to you again soon.